Hello, hi, Michelle Berry Franco here, and as promised, this is the first video blog post in the series Remarkable Speaking for Ordinary People. And I want to talk with you today about a presentation I saw at our local college campus, OSU-Cascades. The topic of the presentation was, why not gross national happiness? And it was a discussion around why we're using production or productivity as a measure of our success as a society instead of well-being or happiness as a measure of our success. And the presentation was very good. And I want to talk about what was really great about the presentation. And I'm also going to talk about some ways the presenter could have made an even larger impact, had a more powerful presentation. So in service of those two goals, I'm going to talk about the content of the presentation and why it was so great, and then what he could have done with presentation slides and his delivery as he was using his presentation slides to make a stronger connection with the audience. So the content was great for a couple of reasons. First of all, he cited credible sources. So he used academic journals that had published research by other experts in the area of psychology and economics and the effects of financial success on well-being and happiness, that kind of research. He used credible sources through peer-reviewed journals. He also used his own experience, which of course brings us a little closer to him as an audience. It helps us know him better and also increases his credibility as a speaker and adds to the factual content of the presentation. So those were both really good, important, logical ways of putting content together. Importantly, he didn't leave out the emotional appeals. So he had some pictures that were pretty compelling. He had pictures, for example, of a bunch of chickens that were crammed into a pen, and talked about how this is supposed to be cage-free chicken raising. So those emotional appeals were really meaningful too, and he had all elements in there. So that's why the content was so good. And then he had slides, lots of slides, and I don't always think lots of slides is a good idea because slides can be distracting. They're supposed to emphasize a point that you're making. They're supposed to amplify your presentation, and in many cases they did, like when he used the images of the chickens, for example. But there were a lot of slides that had a lot of words, and what happens when you have a lot of words on your slides is that people, including you as the presenter, are looking at the slide instead of looking at each other, presenter and audience. And the way that you make meaningful impact in the world, in almost all aspects of interaction, is connection. So when all of you are staring at the slides, you miss the opportunity for eye contact and connection. A couple things, you lose out on a couple things there. You lose out on feedback from the audience. They're telling you, yes, I understand what you're saying, or no, I don't get what you're saying, while they're listening to you, and that's really useful feedback for you as a speaker. You can say a few more sentences if you need to explain a point when you see that people are confused. Or you know it's time to move on. You don't need that extra story if it looks like everybody gets what you're saying because they're nodding and smiling, let's say. So, so too many words on a slide keeps everybody's eyes on the slides. It also, it doesn't look as nice, and it doesn't have as much impact as an image would have. So, I recommend using Gar Reynolds' Presentation Zen book. It's a fantastic book that helps you put together slides that are really powerful. Essentially, 6 words or less if at all possible, and a big, powerful image that amplifies what you're saying so the person can get the emotional impact, then come back to connection with you. That's what you want for powerful presenting. So I hope those two the content tips and those presentation slide tips help you in your next presentation. And until next time here, lovely day to you.